Oh, look who's here. Who finally, an hour later, comes on.
Hang on, let me get my audio set up properly. It's not in the right device yet.
No worries. Yeah, it's the cost of taxing specific things are outrageous. Like the cost to go to a basketball game now is $400-500 a ticket.
Holy crap. No, see, that's the other thing. I don't go to sports events. I don't go to concerts either.
Yeah, that's hello.
So he's up.
Oh man. Usually I have the alarm set way in advance. I try not to be late, but I had headphones on last night when I fell asleep in front of the TV, and those headphones prevented me from hearing the alarm,
Oh
unfortunately.
wow. Are you okay, Sam? You
Yeah,
want to go
I
back?
mean, getting more rest than usual. Sorry.
So you slept in the
Okay.
chair in front of the TV last night, or was that in bed?
That was actually in bed. I had headphones on. I was trying a new audio setup, but I didn't realize it was prevent me from hearing the alarm.
No.
Plus, yeah, I got up around 2 o'clock in the morning, a little bit hungry, so I had some tomato soup. That must have also interrupted my pattern.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. So I guess the first hour or so wasn't recorded. Apologize about that. I don't know if
Yeah.
you guys had something that you wanted to say for the record here then, because
Yeah.
we are now recording.
I still don't have anything to say for the record.
No, we're just chit-chatting as opposed to I was just thinking, you'll probably come on, maybe not. And then Barry said, let him sleep. And I said, no, no, let's just stay on and talk. He'll probably get up. And that's why I sent you that text, Sam.
Actually, that text also did not wake me up. I didn't even hear that notification come in, so
No
that
worries.
didn't affect my timing. Anyway, if you don't have a current topic, I did post a couple of things into the chat regarding my interaction with the 165 page filing with a couple of different models. I'm not sure that's interesting to you guys, but that was what I
Who is it
did in
from?
the intro.
Jack, Jack something?
Smith.
This is the Jack Smith 165 page filing in what is it, the DC court? I think on October 2nd or October 3rd, implicating about six or seven co-conspirators in the election interference
January January
case.
6th fraud
Right.
election.
Along
Oh,
with
okay.
about
Paul.
70 or 77 other people of interest, most of whom I think will probably end up also getting indictments. But co-conspirators is a very strong term, I think.
I didn't recognize any of those names except Rudy Giuliani and Steve Bannon, and all the other names are unfamiliar to me.
So are you saying someone's getting indicted for what? I'm sorry, I'm not in the loop.
This is
The
curious.
January
It's such a
6th,
big issue of news that I'm curious that this hasn't reached you. But
I don't
you
follow
know,
politics. I'm in the AI world 100%. I'm following all the AI news and all the car news. I
yeah,
don't have any political bandwidth at the moment.
curious though. Are you intending to vote?
I'm not because I'm in California. I could register and vote here, but I don't want either one of them. I don't want to vote for Trump or Kamala, to be straight up with you.
Yeah, I think that's a mistake this time around. But
It
anyway,
probably is. Well, if I listen to Elon Musk, I just saw Elon Musk is going, "Come on, you got 2 days to register for Trump. Vote for Trump." And I'm like, "No, I don't want to listen to you, Elon Musk. Thank you. No, I'm good."
no, that would be the mistake.
Darth MAGA.
But it isn't it pretty sewed up in terms of
No, we cannot be too certain. This is too important. It's too
so you're saying if I vote for Kamala in California, that's going to change the election how?
No.
no, I think it's not going to change the election, but I think it will send a message, and I think that's important.
But what message am I sending? That I like Kamala?
No,
No, Trump
that we
lost
are they are
by a huge percentage.
firing Trump. We are firing Trump by
But
a
Trump got
large
fired
margin.
last. I voted for Biden last time and I fired him.
But it was so close that he claimed that it was a miscount or
But it
whatever.
wasn't close in California. Wasn't
Yeah.
even close at all in California last time. And I'm saying I know for a fact in California now it's not going to be close.
Yeah, I still think
Or
it's
in
important.
Massachusetts either.
Just
Look,
and the
bad
reason
things
I know
happen.
this is I was anyway, go on.
Bad things happen when people sit on the sidelines.
What is this a phrase you heard or is this a fact? Because
This is going all the way back to
if I lived in
lessons from Ely
Pennsylvania, I
Wiesel.
would understand that. But I'm saying I'm in California. What bad things will happen if I don't vote?
Yeah, do you realize the last election, the Biden only theoretically won by about 8 million or 7 million votes, right? And to me, in a population of 350, that's way too narrow a margin. The popular
Okay,
vote I'm talking about.
so you want me to vote so there's one more so you can say, aha, it wasn't just 7 million, you lost by 12 million. Ha ha.
Yes, yes, I think that's important.
Okay, fair enough. That's now I understand your logic. I'm just trying to understand. It's like if he's gonna win by 5 million,
But see, so many people will sit back, everywhere and say, ah, well, Kamala's got it sewed up. And that's exactly what we thought when Clinton was running against Trump.
well, I honestly don't want either one of them. So
Right.
what
Whoa,
do I
whoa, whoa,
do?
whoa,
What
whoa,
do I
wait.
do? Do I go vote libertarian?
Oh, you moved to
No,
Costa
no,
Rica.
no. Just go and vote Kamala and then be done with it. If you really don't care, then do that as a favor for those of us who care. That would be a nice gesture.
I did that last time with Kamala. That's why she became the attorney general of our state. I let my mom vote and she voted for Kamala.
Mhm.
And now she's the vice president. So I kind of wish I didn't do that because if I had gone back in time and not let her vote in the state election for her, maybe she wouldn't
Yeah, but see,
have
right now,
become.
that's not the decision. See, the decision right now is not between her and someone else. Right now, the decision is between her and Trump, and Trump just has to be relegated to the dumpster of history. We just need to do that.
Okay. Well, at some point, could we actually go through the logistics of what it means for these parties to have a primary and what it means for the general election versus the delegates? And in other
Yeah,
words, the
it's a
whole
flawed system. It's
system.
an entirely
Y-
flawed
Yeah.
system, but the
Can we go
flaws
to
are going to get
Estonia?
worse if Trump
Yeah.
actually attains office. That's clear,
In
though.
in your opinion, it will be worse. In my opinion, I don't know. It probably will be worse. I don't know because we're speculative. We don't know what Kamala's going to do. We don't know what Trump's going to do. We don't know. Like, think
What do you
about it.
think, Barry? Should we push on this point or should we not push on this point?
No,
You
because
can push if you want.
it's boring and irrelevant.
Okay, I'll just
Well,
say
well,
one more thing, which might actually, you might actually find objectionable, Josh. But I will say this. I think that staying out of this election is privilege. It's not identifying with those who will actually
so
be harmed if
can
Trump
I
actually
push?
gets into power.
Can
Well,
I
are you
push
going to let me
back on
finish
that?
my statement? Let me finish my
When
statement.
you're done, I'd like to push back on that last
Sure,
statement. Go
sure,
ahead.
sure. Because I think it is clear to me that when Trump attains power, he will actually, I mean, he said he wants to be dictator. He said no one else will ever have to vote ever again. He is going to deport what he calls illegal immigrants by the millions. And he's even questioning the legality of certain immigrants, especially in Springfield, Ohio, or wherever those Haitians are eating dogs, allegedly, according to him. He's also going to remove the woman's right to choose for her reproductive rights. And then women will be dying if they're raped by, rapists and family members, and they're not able to access abortion. So many segments of the population will be harmed when Trump attains office. So to say you don't care is an interesting statement to make now, given the thoroughness with which these issues have been covered and have been discussed, even debated, and written up in articles. So I think it is. I mean, it's not to harm you. You're part of the population that he's not going after. So I
Wait,
think
wait,
it's
wait, wait.
just.
What I'm a part
Because
of the population that he's not going after. So you're saying he's going
yes.
after women and he's going to take away their reproductive rights.
So
He's
again,
going after
just for the record, you
immigrants.
interrupted me.
Oh, I didn't know you weren't done. Please continue. Tell me more about me that you know about me.
You're a white male. He's not going after white males.
Sam, you watch too much mainstream media.
I don't think you watch enough.
I don't watch
So,
the bullshit lies that they lost my trust by lying to me so many times that I'm not going to
okay,
watch any
so
more
who do
lies.
you trust? Who do you get your news from? And how are you going to make your decision?
I'm going to trust the people working in the government that I talk to specifically that tell me by going to these meetings with the actual people that are making the actual decisions, the senators, the congressmen, the state
Who are these
representatives,
people?
that's who I'm going to trust.
Who are these people?
Who are the people that are working in your government in my
No, who are these
state?
people that you are going to listen to and you will trust?
Shahid Buttar.
Okay. And what about the all the colleagues of Trump who used to work for him that are now saying he is not fit for office, he's not the next person for the job. Many of them are actually in prison. He's abandoned many of them. Look at what he did with Mike Pence. Look at the people up and down through his administration that have actually not supported him in this particular election
Wait, who?
that used to work for him.
You're losing me in understanding him. Who's him?
Okay, Josh, I'm not going to talk to you.
I can't talk to you, Sam. I don't know what you're talking about. You're gonna lose
Well,
him.
look,
Who is
look, look.
him?
This
You
is
asked
on
me
the
about
record.
Shahid
This is on the
Buttar.
record. So people will be able to see this interaction up to this point.
This would be
And
great, but who is
yeah,
him? Just answer the question. You said him. Who's him?
if it's
Shahid
not
Buttar?
obvious, it's Trump.
Do you have Trump derangement syndrome? I'm not even talking about Trump right now.
Call it what you like. We're talking about the election, and Trump is part of the election. Okay, so I don't know
And I
why
just
you
told
continue
you a
to
hundred
evade the
percent.
point that I was
I,
trying to
I
make.
will bet you $1 billion that there will not be a close election in California. And if I'm wrong, you owe me $1 billion.
No, I'm not going to accept that bet because I admit what you
So my
said
logic
about
is
the election
absolutely sound. My logic is sound. Your
regarding
logic is flawed.
California, but
My
not
logic is sound.
regarding whether or not this is an important election or not.
I didn't say it wasn't. You put words in, you're gaslighting, you put words in my mouth. And this will be on the record. You gaslighting me and putting words in my
Really?
mouth and
Really?
calling me a
I'm
white
saying that yes, I'm
person
calling
who
you a
is not
white male.
affected.
Yes, I am calling you a white male.
So do you want me to call you a Chinese male? Like,
If you
what
like,
point are you
if
trying
that's
to make?
pertinent. If it's pertinent to the discussion, then yes, because this is
Being a
pertinent
white
to the
male
way.
is not pertinent to the
Okay, so you're not
discussion.
willing to let people speak, so you're over talking people.
Oh, Sam, go fuck yourself. Like for real, go fuck yourself 3 times. That is so assholish. I've never ever heard someone gaslight someone, call them a white male, turn
Hey,
off the
hey,
mic.
Josh, this
I've
is
never
this
heard.
is something
Do
that
you
is
really
pertinent
treat
to the
people like that?
election.
No, but
Yes.
me, it's me. I've been your friend for how long? I've known you for how long? And you're going to call me a white male and then turn off the mic and
No,
gaslight
I'm
me
saying you're
and
part of
tell
a
me this is being
population
recorded?
that, yeah, you're part of a population that Trump is not targeting. There are many other populations that Trump is targeting. So you have the affordance of being able to sit back and essentially not care what happens to you during this election.
And then you turn off your mic, Sam? Is that the way you interact with the world?
Look, in the previous, no, it's the way I'm interacting with you, okay? Because
Why are you
previously I've done this
interacting with me
before.
like this?
Because you're not able to see the plain truth that has been covered by
No, no, no.
the news
Sam,
media, by me, by others, and you're actually asking questions that sort of evade the point of the discussion. And if I'm being an asshole, yes, this is completely on the record.
but
Okay.
why are you being an asshole? I just have to ask you that question.
Because I'm saying this is too important for anyone to sit on the sidelines. And you're saying, well, I can sit on the sidelines. I don't like either of them. And to me, the degree of
But
badness
I
that's going to
asked
happen
you if
with
I,
one, see, again, you're not letting someone speak. So, why do I need to engage?
I don't feel heard whatsoever. I just got attacked and then
I
told
was
that I
just
was
listening
interrupting
to
you.
every one of your points, but you were not letting me finish my statements multiple times now.
Go right ahead and finish. Tell me when you're done and complete.
I'll try one more time, and if the same thing happens again, I will decide to cut off my participation again. I was saying that you are part of a population that Trump is not targeting. Okay. And there are many populations that he is targeting. And these people will be harmed. Some of them will even die. Some of them will be deported where they get into more dangerous situations. And so all of this based on a corrupt, felonious, treasonous candidate. This is so beyond whether or not this is, the lesser of two evils. Okay. This is not that kind of election to be thinking that way. This is the time to be thinking one candidate is clearly much, much, much worse than the other candidate. Okay. For any, in my opinion, anyone who looks at data, who looks at reporting, who looks at reporting from multiple sources, who looks at, what the justice system has done to him, what the media has said, all of them, okay, not just the far left, not just the media, but also the far right. You get people on the right shifting their positions so that they are no longer supporting Trump simply because he has 4 years of history that you can actually look at and evaluate whether or not he's actually likely to do it again. Okay, so based on all of this, there is no case previously in history where you've had a felon, a convicted fraudster who has stolen from charities, who has actually been fined hundreds of millions of dollars by multiple counts. We have had no such case previously in history. So to be saying, oh, it doesn't matter which one goes, is at best uninformed and at worst privileged. Over.
Got it. Thank you for saying that. And I see from your perspective, that's how you view me. And that hurts my feelings as a human being because that's not what I said. I didn't say I'm privileged. I will sit on the sideline. It doesn't matter. I said, I don't like either one of the candidates. That's what I said. But I didn't get heard for saying that. I got called a gaslighted and you are white. You have the privilege to not vote. I don't like to be treated that way, Sam.
I can understand that.
Like that's like I could do the exact same thing to you and say you have the privilege to sit on your moral high horse and look out for immigrants who were illegally allowed into the country by a Biden administration. I could do the same thing back to you,
Okay.
but I
I wouldn't
wouldn't
take it the
because
same
I'm
way.
not an asshole.
Okay.
I would look at you as an individual person, as a very well-intentioned person, and wanting the best for everybody. That's the way I would look at you and talk to you and speak to you that way. Not a white privileged person who, if you think you have the privilege not to be a part of this most important decision, then you are just ignorant. That's gaslighting someone.
Okay. I understand that's how it comes
Thank
across.
you. Thank you
I
for
accept
listening
it.
to me. I appreciate it.
I just note that for the record, okay, are you done?
I'm complete. Go ahead.
Okay. So for the record, multiple times before, going back years, when we've brought up elections, we've brought up, Trump's track record, when we brought up whether or not he's a convicted felon, whether or not it really matters to vote. Um, I've noticed that we've actually, had instances where we couldn't get very far because this is probably the most extreme, but there have been similar past conversations before when this topic has come up. So I'm just urging people not to be treating both candidates as almost equal. It's just, one versus the other. It is not a almost equal election. Okay. And it is true that he is going after multiple different minority populations. Actually, you can't even say females are a minority. In some respects, they're actually outnumbering males. But he's going after female reproductive rights as well, and certainly others. So I think that many, as I said, I'm repeating myself now, will be harmed. But okay, go ahead.
Just a quick question. When you say he's going after, and this is a clarification question, not a statement. From what I understand of his politics and what he said he's going to do is he's going to not have a federal mandate. He's going to leave it up to each state to decide on the abortion issue.
Yeah,
Is that something that you've heard too? I'm just asking.
yeah,
Is that what?
that is what he is saying. But the practicality is, and this is where I agree with you that Biden and Kamala didn't do enough. They had 4 years to push through.
I didn't say
Um,
that. By the way, you keep
no,
putting words in my mouth.
wait. I let you speak,
I
so please let
agree
me
with
finish my
you that
statement.
Biden and
Okay.
Kamala didn't do enough. I never said Biden and Kamala didn't do enough. So please don't put
Well, you
words in
were
my mouth.
talking about reproductive rights, I assume, because you were saying about Roe v. Wade, that is going back to the
You're
states.
making a
But
lot of assumptions.
okay, sorry, I must not
It's
be very
okay.
clear right now. Okay, so I probably need to go get some coffee then. Okay.
No, no, it's fine. It's okay. I'm just saying the lens that you look at me through is not who I am. So I appreciate you taking a moment to try to understand. And I appreciate you taking a moment to get a cup of coffee. Um, Sorry that Barry has to listen to all this. I push back, Barry, when I'm being told that I think a certain way and I am a certain person and I do a certain thing because of, and those are all assumptions, and that's not, you know, I don't like being
Theories of
gaslit.
mind. I abhor theories of mind.
Yeah. Is that what it's
They're
called?
almost
Theories of
always
mind?
wrong.
Well, it's to me, when you make assumptions, you're already creating the outcome before it can be decided, and thus that's not democracy.
The thing about theories of mind is that they're speculative theories which you're not doing science to um, falsify, and they're almost always false.
Yeah. Because I honestly want to understand points of view so that I understand if there's information I'm missing, I want that information. If there's something I don't know about something, please share that information with me. But don't tell me that I'm not able to have that information or I am so deluded that I could never understand that information. That's the part where I push back.
Most information turns out I don't understand it.
Say again?
Most information, quote unquote, that flows past me, I don't understand.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a moment. This is just a very individual thing for me. There was a Chinese mathematician that was working with a friend of mine on a blue laser project at the University of California. And I would ask him what math he was working on just to be friendly person at the coffee shop. Hey, what are you working on? And he would say, you'll never understand. And I would go, okay, well, you're an asshole. And his friend came over who was working on the same project, who was much smarter than him, and actually explained to me what they were working on. And not only did I understand it, it was quite interesting. It was the laser, a blue laser that actually takes in more information from a disk. And it was quite fascinating work in physics. And the guy who won the Nobel Prize was recruited at the university to head up that information.
The way to understand you'll never understand is it really means I don't know how to explain it in a way that is will successfully convey the information that you need to understand.
Correct.
There's a lot of things that I don't know how to explain.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you won't understand them. It just means you won't understand them from my poor explanation.
Or understand it in the way that I understand it, and I want you to understand it the same way I understand it.
It's unlikely.
Yeah. Well, it's possible to do. It just takes
It's impossible.
patience.
It's very rare. Rare things are not impossible. They're just rare.
Yeah, I like rare. I'm okay with rare. I like to go to sushi restaurants and have a rare piece of fish. I like rare things. I'm not like, yeah, I feel gaslit because Trump is supposedly a racist, which the jury's out on that. He's definitely Not
misogynist.
the most, yeah, well,
He's dark tetrad.
he's not a good person. Let's just put it that way. Like, it's as simple as he's not a good person, but I don't know a lot of politicians that are good people. So that to me is the rare thing is a politician that is a good person.
There are
So
very few
from the,
statesmen. There's a huge difference between a politician and a statesman.
yeah,
Maybe 5% of politicians are statesmen. Maybe.
yeah. I mean, I do think everyone's trying to do their best. And I do think that in everyone's mind, their ideas are the best ideas.
The best they know how. The
Yeah.
best they can
And,
muster.
but I think if we don't converse, and I appreciate you taking the time, Sam, to get a cup of coffee and to converse and not just dismiss me as a white privileged asshole who doesn't think that my democratic right to vote is something that I need to exercise. It's mandated that I exercise it as opposed to someone needs to convince me why my vote. In other words, they need to win my vote. Kamala has not won my vote, and Trump has not won my vote, and that's what I was trying to say. Does that make sense?
I can see that perspective. In my
Yeah,
perspective, Trump has completely lost my vote, and he is
got it.
unqualified to even be a candidate. So to me, the other candidate doesn't even matter. A rotten onion should be put in office before Trump gets put in office. Okay. And then secondly, whether or not Trump is a racist, I would say that's no longer an indeterminate question. It's no longer a position of ambiguity. It is close to established, as any social statement can be. So I find that also disturbing that you would say
Yeah.
Trump may not be a racist. I think uh, that is troubling to me.
What? Well, what is your definition of a racist?
Oh, geez, this is where I really have a hard time continuing. I really have a hard time continuing.
Why? Because I asked you the definition of racism? Yeah, let's just not, because I'm having a hard time
This is
continuing
why I
too.
have no appetite for politics because it just devolves into um, people yelling past each other.
Well, it's also name calling. It's like you're a boogabah, and then you say, "What is a boogabah?" If you don't know, then you obviously don't know what you are. So fuck you. You're like you're a racist. Like I've had so many people call me a racist, which I think is the most absurd thing of all time.
When it comes to
It,
racing, I don't even walk fast.
well, there you go. That's a good joke. It's But to call someone a racist, I mean, if I was a racist, how could I live in New York for 10 years? I think I would have died of exhaustion. Like, in other words, if I put on events and I have friends and family from all different races, and I go to all these different cultural events and I share all the beauty of all the different racial cultures and understandings, but I'm a racist. Like I don't get it. I don't see what this I think it's just a very easy political thing to just dismiss someone. It's like calling me a pedophile because I have a kid. I like my kid. Oh, you're a pedophile. You like your kid. To me, it's the same logic. It's retarded. And yeah.
Well, note for the record, Josh, I did not call you a racist. I said Trump was a racist. So you've been arguing a point that
Well,
I did not
d
state.
but you don't know me after all these years, and obviously you don't know Trump because you've never been in a room with him, or if you have, you haven't told me about it, and you don't know. So to just call someone something because of what you heard hearsay, if you were with him and he said some racist things and he told you he was a racist and you know he's a racist, I get it. But if someone told you that he was a racist and you believe it, or the things that he's done make you assume that he's a racist, maybe he is a racist. I don't know, but you don't know either. So until you know, don't call people names until you have 100%. firsthand experience that that is a fact. And even if he is a racist, I can think of many, many, many racist past presidents that were racist. And I can think of many, many instances in America where racism is prevalent. So if you just want to dismiss it as people that are racist shouldn't be president, then good luck with that. Are you done gaslighting me, Sam? If you just come on and say, yes, I'm done, then I know you're done. But if you just keep your mic off, you're not done.
Probably according to your usage of the term, I'm probably not done.
Okay, well, continue gaslighting me. Have a good time with that.
Very sorry for being an asshole today. General population, sorry for being an asshole today. Maybe I
Well, that was
woke up on the
always
wrong
a
side
half
of
an
bed.
hour.
But I'm on the record of being an asshole, so I'm not going to hide this video.
So much for collaboration, huh?
Actually, collaboration, I think, was a noble objective, but the more mundane issue is to try and see if we can see ourselves blocked when we try collaboration. And even if I learn nothing from it, hopefully others will in the future. Maybe you will in the present.
I don't have much of a future left, at my age.
Hey, you've got a whole bunch of cycles left, so you can choose to use those cycles however you like.
Yeah, well, uh, I'd rather do science and math than politics. I'm not only do I not make any progress in politics, but I feel like I'm contributing to retrograde motion.
But here's the thing, okay? I do understand that was potentially unpleasant to have sat through and unpleasant to view, unpleasant to listen, but I do want to provide this as an example of my own behavior so that someone can call me out. And I have trouble doing that with Josh because he did interrupt me multiple times. And if he didn't, then tell me to my face he didn't. But in my experience here, I couldn't make several statements multiple times. So that's a thing that I have trouble with. I was willing to engage on the positions, but if he talked over me, then we don't get to make progress. That's how I was experiencing it.
I would be astonished if anybody made any progress in politics in my
Wait, wait,
lifetime.
wait. There's something across my forehead. Oh, that's a hair. Okay, all right. Sorry, Barry, I did hear you. Okay, but I don't know. I think that's too broad brush a stroke. Each of us can only do our each little bit. Okay, and that's the way this country was set up. Not the best system, but it's the system we got. So I'm trying to do my little bit, and I'm encouraging everybody else to do their little bit.
I just, I observe the phenomenon of polarization and schism,
Mhm.
and I'm chagrined by it. And so if I find that I'm amplifying polarization and schism, I just figure, let me find something else to do that's not so deleterious to the well-being of our culture.
Okay, well, anyway, I'm going to apologize here for the record again for being an asshole today. I do welcome comments, so please put comments on this video if or when you view it. and I'm not speaking just to you, I'm speaking to everybody who potentially could see this video
I'm just
and call
chagrined.
me on it.
I'm just, I I spend far too much of my conscious time being chagrined for lots and lots of reasons that I just don't need any more chagrin-worthy stimuli.
Yeah, this is frustration making.
It's
I can see it
exasperating.
in you, I can see it in Josh, I can see it in me.
Did I mention yesterday that what's his name? Malcolm. That's not his name. The guy who wrote Tipping Point.
Are you talking about the guy we brought up, or Toffler, the guy I brought up
No, not
yesterday?
Toffler. Let me ask Jim. I can't. Geez, I can't remember names. Who?
Computer, who wrote The Tipping Point? Malcolm Gladwell.
Malcolm Gladwell. It was Malcolm. Malcolm Gladwell. He's rewriting that book after whatever it was, 10 or 15, 20 years. And he says he was very optimistic when he wrote it. And he's considerably less optimistic today. And he's rewriting it with a much darker perspective. Um, and he's talking about it, but he hasn't actually published the new edition. But I recognize that as you have more and more experience in life, you you tend to become more cynical, more pessimistic, and darker. In fact, um, the singer Leonard Cohen, just before he died, he he published his last album, or maybe his last song, or and 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 the whole theme of the last album was you want it darker, and so he was producing lyrics and music that was darker than he had earlier in his life. And I think that's a trend. I think you see people going from being very Pollyannish early in life to being more cynical and darker later in life. The Harry Potter books became darker towards the end, and that's an observable phenomenon that I think has got some basis in life experience with our culture. Just uh, I think it was Jeffrey Mercer posted something 7 years ago. Are we moving in the right direction or something to that effect? And I had written, I think then, or where are we headed? I think it was the way he posed the question. And a lot of people said we're going to hell in a handbasket. I was even one of them. 7 years later, yesterday, um, Philip Van Netterveld came on and piped in and said, um, where are we today? And I said, we're moving retrograde at an accelerating rate. And then he said, can you quantify that? And I said, I don't know how to quantify it, but we're not only retrograde, we're moving retrograde at an accelerating rate. And that's why, it's becoming darker. And I think the satirists are expressing that too. The satire is getting more biting.
I think today is one of those days when I show my stupidity at how I express things,
Well,
and also the willingness to keep engaging.
it's trying to be an influencer, which is, I think it's fair to say you're trying to be an influencer. Um, I find that often I'm no good at that. I know I'm no good at it, and maybe it's even counterproductive. I think there's some evidence that not only is being an influencer ineffective, it may be counterproductive at worst, and often is, at least.
Okay, well, I don't think I do that intentionally or overtly, but I also say no matter who we are, we do have influence. So what kind of influence does one want to
I
make?
think the problem is negative influence. I think the negative influences are probably now more prominent than the promotional, rah-rah influencers. We can win this game. I think more and more the influences are darker.
So can I ask you a personal question, Barry?
Yeah, you can ask them if I have an answer.
When I said to Josh that he was a white male, I could have said the same thing to you. You're a white male. Would you have taken offense? Would you have objected? Would you have pushed back in a similar
Somebody say
way?
it's irrelevant. Yeah, I mean, it may be relevant in some circumstances, but I mean, if I had gone into, I don't know, a venue where I'm the minority, it might have mattered, but I'm a minority for lots of reasons, but not because of the color of my skin or the color of my hair. Uh,
In what way would it have mattered if you entered a room where you were a minority?
I'd get the shit kicked out of me. That's happened 3 times in my life.
Is that because in your practice, minorities get shit kicked out of them?
I don't know about other minorities. I know this minority did. I know the Jews in the Holocaust did. And the Palest. I know that I was born in Kansas because of the Palest settlement back in Eastern Europe was pretty bad news for the minority ethnic group that I came out of, my ancestors came out of.
I'm not sure anybody's willing, but this would be a good session to do retrospective on.
Well, it's also very depressing. I mean, how often can you go back and visit depression if it just ends up making you more depressed? I'd visit
Well,
depression if I could get out of depression, but it's like digging yourself out of a hole by digging more, digging the floor out and throwing the floor overboard. I mean, there are ways to dig yourself out of a hole. You have to build a spiral ramp around the edges, but that's hard work, and that's often that doesn't work either because the ramp basically falls. Well, I don't know. The math, I don't like the math. It's easier to envision the math than to make it work in real life.
do you are you familiar with the term strange loop?
Yeah, it comes out of Hofstadter's writing.
Yeah,
In fact, he wrote a book called "I Am a Strange Loop." It was his autobiography, I think.
yeah, yeah. That's why I'm always my ears perk up whenever anybody says, "Oh, we've talked about this before."
Almost everything is recursive in some sense. Might not be identical, but it's rhymes. It's familiar. The patterns are familiar.
I put strange loop in the browser and it just tells me about the musical.
There's a musical called Strange Loop.
Evidently, I didn't know about that.
Oh, I didn't know about that either.
In fact, the entire first page, I don't see Hofstadter's name on the first
Put,
page.
put in quotes, "I Am a Strange Loop" book title.
Yeah. I think it was introduced before the biography.
Yeah. I mean, Hofstadter, as prominent as I consider him, he's not very prominent in the general population.
The first thing that comes up is a link to a I Am a Strange Loop t-shirt, it looks like, on Amazon.
Well, it's probably inspired by Hofstadter, but
Oh, of course. Yeah. Anyway, uh, yeah, I'm gonna feed this transcript into GPT and really let it tell me where I fucked up.
it'll probably be too polite to tell you.
Yeah, I can find another LLM. There are LLMs which are less censored than others, I think. I haven't tried them all, but some of them claim uncensored. Some of them are obviously very censored.
I mean, the ones I played with are very apologetic when you point out
Yep.
that they
Yep.
have misspoke.
Yep. Oh, is it okay to change topics? You've probably been waiting for this
Wish
quite a
you
bit.
would.
I was learning yesterday about a code assistant. Um, it's a P. God, it was just milliseconds before I had the name of it. Oh, Pythagora. Pythagora is the name of a plugin that fits into VS Code, which is arguably the most popular IDE these days. And I saw it, someone demonstrated it working on not just a toy problem, but a reasonably sophisticated problem. So it's not just like, one sentence, build me this. It was actually, several paragraphs worth of specifications. And it created multiple different stages of development, and within each stage, it implemented certain features iteratively, and it gave you something to test along the way, and it could actually create test cases. You could actually say, hey, this worked, this didn't work, or change this way. And when you say change this in the following way, it would go back and edit your original specification so that it would always be current. I thought that was a really, really nice step forward in coding assistance. So again, apologies to those who've already done that, but yesterday I saw Pythagora for the first time, and I think it's only been introduced not very long ago. But that is one that I really want to start working with a bit more and really see how far I can get with it. It's amazing with that and N8N and Ulama and LM Studio. Oh, man, there's just so many developments. This is really an exploding time in progress of AI. It's just astonishing. It really is hard to keep up at this point. Anyway, I just want to share that, Barry, because my next experiment, as I said, was to take this video, run it through that and its peers, and see what I can learn from it.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
What's an IDE?
Integrated development environment. So it's
That's what you've been
basically
talking about for the last three
yeah, sorry,
paragraphs? I had no
I'm
idea
sorry.
what you were talking about.
This is something, do you know what a code editor is?
Well, I suppose it's something that helps you write code.
Yeah, and typically they recognize things like syntax errors. They will color
Yeah,
certain,
yeah, I've
terms.
seen Vi will do
Right,
that in the
right,
right mode. It can turn that mode
right,
on. Yeah.
right. Sorry. Yeah, I'm too much in my own echo chamber.
I had no idea I couldn't fathom what the context of that whole thing was.
Okay, so it was about trying to apply modern tools that have just recently appeared in helping software engineers write real software.
Yeah,
And
okay, well,
it's
that's
just
nice.
evolving by leaps and bounds, almost daily, but certainly weekly.
Yeah. I haven't written code in ages. I used to 50 years ago, but not anymore.
Well, I think I just went through an example of why there are so few people that come on Saturdays and Sundays. I piss people off.
Or you rant about something where people stop listening
Yeah.
or or disagree violently so that they don't
I don't think
absorb it.
it's the disagreement that I was objecting to. It was the fact that I couldn't even finish a statement that I was objecting to.
I let you finish your statement about IDE when I have no idea what you're talking about. I put my hand up for like 2 minutes, and it didn't
Hmm.
stop you from saying, "Have I lost you?" The answer was, "Yeah, you lost me at the first sentence because you
Sorry, I
named a
wasn't
topic
looking
that
at
I
the
didn't know what it
screen.
was."
Was I looking at the screen? If I was looking at the screen, I didn't see it.
Well, I mean, it was like this for two
Okay,
minutes
Barry. I'm clearly not functioning
because I
well
didn't
today
want to
then.
interrupt you. Because I know you don't like to be interrupted when you're ranting and the audience isn't paying attention anymore. I mean, the whole point of interruption is, you've lost your audience.
Okay, that's fair. The shift from being Pollyanna-ish to curmudgeon as one ages. Yes, that is I believe, a well-known trend, even though it may not be universal. And
And
I
I
see it
think
in myself. Sorry, go ahead.
it's based on real observation of the zeitgeist, the zeitgeist degrading from initial perspective to seeing things as they really are, not as you'd like them to be.
Again, that is a matter of interpretation as well.
Well, I mean, that's the whole point of observation, is you interpret your observation.
Yeah.
And like Philip said, can you quantize it? Can you put a metric on it? And then I said, well, I can imagine putting a metric on it. I know examples of people putting metrics on sociology, although I don't know how this one will have a good metric. I think you can put a metric on polarization and schisms. You can count them.
What will those be?
Well, for example, if you have a bipolar distribution, isn't there a metric on the bipolarity of a bipolar distribution?
Bipolar or bimodal?
By, well, that's both. Either you think of either way. Having basically two
Yeah, either a
polar,
dumbbell shape or a camel shape, right?
yeah, that it doesn't it's not normal. It's an abnormal
Right,
distribution. That
right.
you've got people who are in two disparate camps, and neither the twain shall meet, and they're drifting farther apart as time goes on.
But I didn't necessarily see that with Josh, though. I was trying to get clarification and kind of express something else. I didn't accuse him of being in the far right. That was certainly not what I was saying.
Well,
I could be. Go ahead.
he's disenchanted with politics, and I am too. I've been disenchanted with politics and the legal system and government for a very long time, and increasingly so as I age.
Yeah,
Increasingly so, disenchanted. Now, can you measure
sure.
disenchantment? Well, I don't.
But still, the system that includes politics is still how it decides how much of the assets we earn gets taken away and put into government coffers, and how they spend it, and who gets to benefit from it, and who gets to sort of siphon off a bit from the top or from the bottom. That whole system stinks, but it's the one we've got, and we haven't yet got a different one. So we got to work with what we've got until we have another violent revolution.
Well, I mean, they exist on paper in theory or theology, but they don't exist in reality.
Right, that's what I mean. We don't have one in practice.
I mean, maybe the Amana colonies came close. I don't know. I've been there a few times.
Explain that to me like I'm a 5-year-old.
There's a place near Cedar Rapids, Iowa, called the Amana colonies. They were settled by German immigrants who were disenchanted with the politics in Germany, and they moved to the Midwest in part of Iowa and created 4 or 5 small towns, all within short distance of each other, and they're known as the Amana colonies.
How do you
And
spell that?
they're the same people who make the Amana appliances. They have the industries. They have a woodworking industry. They have a appliance industry that makes Amana uh, kitchen appliances.
Okay. AMANA then?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Please continue.
And my parents, when my parents lived in Cedar Rapids, they would drive to Amana for dinner. They served sort of home style meals, family style meals that were very good food and very inexpensive and very, down to earth and homey. And and I think the governance of the Amana colonies, the self governance, was sort of an ideal that is very dissimilar from politics in the rest of the country. May also be
Can
similar to
you
what's going on in Pennsylvania with the Quakers. Is it the Quakers? What's the group in Pennsylvania? Not the Quakers. There's something else.
Amish?
Amish, yeah. Maybe, except that the Amana people weren't old fashioned. They didn't ride carts and wagons. They were modern, um, but they
Okay.
had a different governance model from the
I'll
rest of
look
them.
into that.
Yeah, look up Amana colonies in Amana, Iowa, and see
Okay.
what their
In
culture
the
is.
meantime, I will try and do a retrospective with myself and whoever else cares to about my behavior in today's session.
Well, I just hope whatever it was, you don't, however you characterize it, wouldn't want to see a repetition of it because it was very disenchanting.
I hear you, Barry.
I mean, did you notice I turned off my video?
Yes, yes, very
And
quickly.
I did that because I was following your practice of turning off your video when you're not interested in what's going on.
Sometimes it's not an indication of lack of interest. Sometimes it's that, I'm either wiping my mouth or I'm, sneezing or I'm, blowing my nose
Or
or
a protracted time, like for
yeah.
15 or 20 minutes.
Well, sometimes that's because I went to go get coffee or,
For
make
15 or
myself
20
something.
minutes.
Yeah, if it's longer than about 5 minutes, then I've decided to do something else for a while.
Yeah, you basically lost interest in what was happening in the community, which is
Yeah.
a little strange for the host.
Okay,
I
I
had
hear you on that one also.
I had a dream. Actually, it was during afternoon nap, but I still had a dream that I was leading a Toastmasters meeting and it was going completely chaotic. The whole meeting was just going to hell in a handbasket. Uh, everything that it was Murphy's Law, everything that could go wrong was going wrong. And I finally woke up, at sort of the end of the meeting where everything failed and go, that was an interesting dream. Everything
Could
went
you say
wrong.
more about how that applies?
It's just that, well, part of the reason I had that dream is that they're doing some remodeling in the community center. So some of the rooms are upgrading the technology. So we can't use those rooms while they're working on them. So at the last minute, they moved us to a different room, which was also being remodeled, but it was not in as bad a shape as the one we got kicked out of. But at the very last minute, we had to set up our hybrid meeting in a kind of an unfamiliar context. And then we have one of our speakers who wanted to do something unusual. He didn't want to stand behind a podium. He wanted to get right up to the camera and put his face right in front of the camera. And as a result, he ended up standing on the USB cable that was connecting the microphone, and he disconnected it because he was shuffling his feet. And of course, I didn't know that he disconnected the microphone because we're hearing him, acoustically in the room. But the half a dozen people remotely started realizing that they had lost the audio, and by the time we figured it out, he was halfway through his talk, and I didn't even diagnose for like 5 minutes what had gone wrong, that he had been standing on the USB cable and disconnected it. So his entire talk, the video was recorded, but no audio was recorded on the Zoom call. And I think that example where, he threw a Lulu at us and then ended up, and it's not the first time that somebody with their feet has, disconnected a power cable or, kicked something. And, it sort of reminded me of just how many things can go wrong that you can't even realize it at the time that they've gone wrong because you don't get the feedback. It affects the remote people. And as we were cleaning up after the meeting, I said to the president, I said, I think I'm getting too old for this. There was a time
See,
when things went wrong and you could fix them. And I could still fix them, but it takes half the meeting to fix them. The meeting was basically a lost cause, or at least that part of it. The guy gave a talk, and it's not recorded. The audio's not recorded, and only the people in the room who heard him. The evaluator was remote. He didn't hear him. He couldn't evaluate him because he lost the audio. And at some point, you throw up your hands. You throw in the towel. You throw up your hands. You say it's a lost cause. And you do that eventually. Don't do it right away. You don't throw in your towel at the beginning. You're throwing your towel at the fourth inning when you realize this is a lost cause.
yeah. So I think twice today you've made the point that interruption can still be useful
Well, yeah. I mean,
rather than waiting till the ninth inning.
if I've lost my audience, the audience might as well let me know that I've lost them.
Yeah.
That speaker didn't know that he'd lost his audience, and that he was the cause because he had kicked the USB cable. He shuffled his feet on it. And if you watch the video, you can see him sort of when he's shuffling his feet, is sort of adjusting his posture, and that's the moment the audio goes out. And then and then after that, I realized that he was standing on the cable and that we had lost the audio.
Yeah. And when that audio went out, no one in the remote segment of the population texted you or someone else to say, "Hey, we lost audio."
Oh, they did text, but I wasn't paying attention to the chat. And I realized, okay, in order for this to work, I've really got to be writing all the indicators. I have to be looking at all the instrument panel because the instrument panel would have revealed something that I wasn't looking at.
Yeah.
And the reason is that because he was so close to the camera, I had to keep adjusting the camera so that he would have his face in. So I was paying attention to the thing that I thought was important.
Yeah.
For his talk, and I didn't pay attention to the part that turned out to be important because it never occurred to me that he was going to kick the cables loose while he was standing in front of the camera.
I get it. Okay, Bear, for the record, it is top of the hour. What do you say I pack this up, send it out, ask for feedback?
Yeah, and don't expect
admit that I'm an asshole.
I would be surprised if you got any feedback at all.
I would be surprised if I got no feedback, actually.
Well, we'll see.
Yep.
You can tell me in 3 years whether this video got any feedback. Timely feedback. That's like
okay. Let's make that appointment. Okay. October 6th of 2027, Barry. Let's have a retrospective on this. Okay.
Well, you can have a retrospective. I'll buy out.
Okay. All right. I'll have a retrospective with virtual Barry. All right. Perhaps I should have stayed in bed. Bye for now, Barry.
All right. Talk to you later.
Okay. Bye-bye.